idles down real good. So I pull this cap off, I see smoke coming out of there, something's wrong. I want to see just a little bit of haze coming out of here. If you look just right, you'll see a little bit of haze coming out of there. You strike a match, that'll burn like a candle. So I know it's good, it's been shut down in a proper state.
Now, are those just chemical barrels you picked up? Those two little ones?
Yeah.
The other one's 55.
Yeah, 55. These are just 36. I think they're 30-gallon oil drums.
Scrap tank from somewhere.
So the cooler the gasification is, the more power you have?
You want to make good gasification is made during extremely hot temperatures. But by the time it gets to the motor, you want it as cool as practical.
So is there a limit to how cool it can be for power?
I've noticed the colder the day is, the more power you have. Now, when you get into the really cold temperatures, we've got people building them in Alaska and Canada, it's condensation. You're going to have condensation in here, so that's in the condensation tanks, they're going to have some kind of heaters on them, or make sure they drain whenever they get through with the vehicle, not wait to the next day. But as far as the gases going to the motor, the cooler it is, the more dense it will be, so you have more power. It's not much, but a little.
So this is the airflow ratio gauge?
That's a gauge. They use them like on race cars to show you exactly what the best ratio efficiency.
What was it just running out of here? Is it different for
No, it stays down. It seems to run best when it's running on the lean side there. Now the perfect, on gasoline motors, the perfect air to ratio mixed is 14.7. Since wood gas is much more weaker than gasoline, it's on about a 1-to-1 ratio. It's about as much air coming, there's about as much gas coming in there as there are air. On a gasoline vehicle, it's 14.7 times
all the stuff that
air.
people put on the side of the road, you know, for the city.
So that ratio, is there any time that
fallen
ratio works
trees. I
against
mean,
you?
every winter we used to go through our neighborhood and get enough firewood for the whole winter just from fallen.
Did you ever talk about greenwood versus?
Like as far as like going up a hill or
It's gotta
something,
be
or
20%.
No, all that'll be
dry,
still
which
set
redwood's
up.
going to be a little bit longer
Keep
to
it
achieve
safe.
that. I'm sure it's
Okay.
going to sit for a
Probably
while.
more
Now,
moisture.
if I ever needed any more power, there's a little knob in there I can turn that'll start adding some gasoline into
oh, so you
it.
can mix small amounts of gasoline with the
I'll crank it up on gasoline and let. Now it's going to sound different on gasoline with.
But you can run both of them in at the same time?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
With wood gas, when I rev it up, it just warm. But when I go to gasoline, it's just boom.
Right. Way more sensible.
Next time someone comes up with gas money,
Y'all remember how it revved a while ago on wood gas? Listen to this.
Wood smells better.
Oh yeah.
You get a little bit of a tinnier sound.
so you've advanced the timing, but
When I get to talking to people, I forget to leave valves. Left that valve closed, the gasifier couldn't get any air.
Sounds a little quieter.
A little less than
Yeah, it's not wow.
Seems smoother.
It does, yeah.
It might, yeah, the less horsepower.
Oh yeah.
It's really
It's not burning as hot.
With a truck with that much horsepower versus the size, you're not really noticing 30% less horsepower.
Guess your spark plugs are noticing a difference.
I got police officer friends that sits in the tailgate.
It did seem pretty excessive to gas. Gas means like, oh, you don't need to go on that much.
Yeah, turn that off.
Turn that down
man. I don't like
30%.
Well, the smell too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if you're hit really hard, what would be the worst that happened in a bad collision? Because that's what they're on, is the safety issue.
Yeah. Okay.
I am so sick of reductions.
Gas, most of these vehicles parked around here, it's got enough explosive fuel in it to drive a couple of hundred
Why is
miles.
my opinion different 9
Wood
years
gas,
later from
The
graduating?
explosive gas, there's no storage capacity for it.
I mean, I want to work
This
with
has
them,
got
but I
no
just
more
need them to get
capacity
that
than I
we
could
never
drive,
do reductionism.
100
Reduction
yards.
is not what we're
I'm not,
Yeah.
and I'm
You
not
have to
scared
factor
of
it all in, and if you can't do that, well, come back to me when you
But
do.
a full
Otherwise, I'm just
collision
going to show you their
Well,
work.
to me, that's what
like
real
that
science
and a
is.
spark, nothing
Right,
ignites.
it really is.
I mean, if you're looking at cause and effect, you can ignore some of the
It's
action
nothing like
variables,
it would
even
be-
when
it
there's
would be
subtle,
hard.
Yes,
you know,
Down
layers of
inside of that,
facts.
there's a place in there about 2 gallons of charcoal in the very bottom of that, and it's encased in some heavy steel, 9 layers, matter of fact. It would take a strap.
The worst that would happen is a spontaneous barbecue starts.
Yeah. It will be black. As soon as you change your oil, it'll turn black. The spark plugs will be they'll be white like you've been running LP. I know, just like a diesel, as soon as you change oil in it, it's black just as soon as you crank it up. I don't know if that's good or bad, but diesels that last. But the oil is black.
And there's no information you have about whether or not synthetic oil is better to run with it than regular oil.
I've always used just the regular oil and change it 4,000 or 5,000 miles. I don't.
And how are the engines holding up? How long have you've run them since 2002? Is that right?
About 8 years now.
And about
The first
how many miles
one-
do you have the idea? I'm sorry, finish yours.
The furthest I've driven one is about 40,000 miles. A total of about 250,000. But when I first started doing this, before I put the gasifier in it, I checked the compression and recorded it. And then I drove it a week. We did the test again, a month. And the truck I sold last summer that I've driven since 2004, the compression's still right on the numbers I recorded then.
So the reason you
seems
stopped
to-
driving those trucks is you sold them, not that they didn't keep running.
Right.
If I pulled up with this truck to your place and you were going to do it for me, what would the charge be for that? You supplying equipment, stuff, labor, all that.
I just don't. The ones I built is for test purposes, me testing stuff. But it would cost me 250 hours, whatever you or me thought my time was worth. It's going to cost me 250 hours. Plus, you're going to have to put in about $500 worth of material.
So if you at least went for $30 an hour, nice 7,000 to 8,000.
If you
And
could,
most people enjoy doing it themselves. On our website, they want to be able to do it themselves. And once you build it yourself, you know exactly how the system works. So it's probably going to help you on your driving part of it, the operation of
if you could build a custom motor, would you like to run better on wood gas?
it. I'm sure one could be designed for it because these motors are doing good, and yet they're designed for gasoline. If a motor was designed especially for wood, it'd do much better.
And right now the timing is advanced. Do you have to retard it when you run just on gas?
It's best to.
Oh.
Yeah,
How much?
it'll if you it idles real rough if you leave the timing advanced while you're on gasoline.
So it's not very efficient probably to drive it on gas.
Just get started.
If you had to, let's say, you ran out of wood for some reason and had to do 300 miles, you'd probably get lots of gas miles.
No, it takes about 2 seconds to change the time.
There's no more miles.
Just up in the motor manually like you normally would,
what's
or
the,
you got?
bunch
Oh,
of
you got
rods
it in
called
there.
sticks?
I'll crank it up on
Well, a cord or sticks is fast, right?
Oh, right.
So it's miles per cord now, right? Not per gallon.
Yeah, he said it's one bag is like about a gallon. One
Miles
bag
per
of wood.
shovel.
Yeah. So
One bag of wood, a chunk out like that that's about 20% moisture rate.
I was
is
thinking
1
about if
gallon.
you just had a truck that had a mouth on the front, like a chomp on the front, because you drive through the woods. Just chomp
Oh,
wood.
right.
And there's
No, it's got to be
that's the other thing.
dry.
Do you think he has a way to feed it, or do you literally have to stop
load
Yes,
up
to stop, but there's
Well, he
enough
loves it
in
in the
there to go
morning.
as far as you need to go. There's nowhere you're gonna go that's gonna run that out before you get where you're going.
Oh, really?
Like that's enough for all day.
Man, I tell you, why all these buses going back and across in trucks? It's just we have to have a sustainable forest that grow fast, but we would just again
Just using all the wood that's already wasted right now, like you're always carrying up stuff. Yeah.
Sacred Mountain Sanctuary, our debris wood, we run everything so we're putting on there to do all the work. Plows and stuff that we run.
Yeah.
These tanks and they had it going.
So you said there's a...
Yeah, I said same thing. World War II is one of the ways they
Yeah, that's not new
the
technology
same
either.
thing on the intake?
Sooner or
Those trying to
later,
figure out how to make
you're gonna get a little backfire there.
He can do it too.
Just a safety valve. Oh, okay. Spring on the breather.
Unless
you want to make a bomb.
With that said, you can go back to the World War II pictures where they had buses and they had a big old, looked like inflatable mattresses up on top where they would actually carry wood gas in it, but it wouldn't compress much, just barely a little bit in it. But big old bags up on the buses.
Have you made you a generator set yet using this?
Yeah, I've run generators.
Could you use the wood gas to run a motor in the back of a vehicle to create electricity to run an electric vehicle? Like a wood fire engine in the back of a vehicle to run an electric vehicle?
I mean, it will run internal combustion engines, and then you can take that engine and do whatever you want to. Now some engines run better than others.
That's just every time you transfer power, you lose some.
So I guess it could be a backup.
But now,
So
keep in mind this truck by probably in the morning this truck will have gone close to 1,600 miles this week.
Nice.
And how many pounds of wood did you bring for that?
I put whatever was comfortable in the back of the truck.
Where do you carry your chainsaw and wood splitter?
All that's at home. I didn't bring it.
Is there any benefits to cooling the air intake? Like how cold the air is?
Chilling it more. We've had people talk about running it through an air conditioning type apparatus, just to chill it, like a intercooler to cool it on down. But once you get it down to about ambient, if you try to get it lower than ambient, it's going to be taking more energy to do that than it's going to be.
If the air was already heated, you could bring it back to ambient temperature, but that would be a turbo thing.
That gutter, and then over there, and we collect it. As much water as I can get out here means it'll make it much easier on the gasifier to make better power.
Now when you turn on the blower, what does that do? Like it pulls all that into there?
When I turn the blower on, the suction blowers, they're imitating the pull of the motor. That's where I won't have to crank up the motor.
It's your starter.
I could use no blowers and crank up the motor on gasoline to get it pulling.
Right.
It's like smoking a cigarette. You got to pull on it. The gasifier is kind of like pulling on a cigarette. The harder you pull it, the brighter it's gonna get.
So it pulls it into here, right here, into this second one. It pulls it into this second barrel right here. And then what happens in here with this?
Okay, you got comes into here, then comes up through here, and then these pipes. Inside there's a heat exchanger. We have fresh air coming in. It enters under the truck over here, and it goes through a heat exchanger underneath the truck. That box that's hanging down there, it's a heat exchanger from the exhaust. I want to insulate this. This comes up through here, goes through this drum, and then a drum that's mounted inside here goes down. Fresh air comes back in the gas. There's actually two pipes, one opening there, two pipes there.
And then from there it goes into this.
We got to get the breeding cycle.
It leaves up here.
And that's the rule now. Right now, we got them to.
And then what's this one for? That's just storage for your
That's
gas?
that's filter. That's filter. Goes through through here, down underneath, comes back and enters that way.
Okay.
At the bottom. Comes up, and then out here.
Yeah, it's plug and chug, and I'm just like, I'm always on the hunt for creative thinking edge, and it didn't seem like if I plug in, it's got to be something that's where my spark is. I've been talking to John for about the last 2 years about it. I'm just excited about what he's doing.
Nice to meet you. Now I finally have it. I've been hearing about you, bro.
I don't understand. I don't think.
Yes.
That shows the way it's working. This is the main part of, this is about the level of the pickup bed. Comes right about in there, but that's where the main part happens down there.
Yeah, it's finished.
This is where we're loaded up here. This is showing the circulating of the air through the pipes.
Okay. And then what's that?
It's a great shaker. Did you see that little motor under there with the weight on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to it and see if you hear it.
Yeah.
Like on a wood stove, the grate, shake it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's works electric.
You got an electric shaker under there. Wow. That's just amazing. I want to build these. I want to totally innovate on this and be a part of it and further its advancement. You've done such an amazing job with this. This is great.
Okay.
I'll definitely be contacting you in the future on whatever ideas come to mind.
Are you local?
Yeah.
You've got some, we have several people in Tennessee building them. One right over the mountain here. I forget the name of the town, but he's got a Dakota very similar to this. He's building.
I've had about 5 years of fabrication experience, and I love working on cars, and I also build barrel wood stoves for people, so this is all just coming together so familiarly, like, oh my god.
Instigator and
So like, yeah, it's coming. This is going to be exciting. Sometimes people find hard work contact me, and as soon as I absorb all of it, they're all out.
Yes, sir. Being able to give the old middle finger salute to the oil companies, that just made them feel better.
Now, how big could you make one of these and it's still safe? Like for a semi truck, if you wanted to move a big load, you know.
I think they can be scaled up without any problem, but these work best when you're operating around a certain radius of your home, you know.
because of the wood supply.
Now
If the wood supply gets networked, then that's not an issue.
Well, we're working on that. We're getting wood networks. It's an open invitation. Anybody that comes by my house gets free wood if they drive a wood burner. I got a friend in Indiana. He's got the same policy. So when I go to Indiana, I just carry enough wood to get there. He furnishes me enough.
Oh, that's great.
What have you thought about hurricanes and, you know, all the storm that we've been having? All the cleanup.
I'll be stockpiling.
No.
Wow. I guess with cars, it's a little different.
Man. So this is just
But
a V8.
if a person has got the wood, it's a cheap ride. It's a cheap ride.
And there can be
This is
trailers
just
you
a
can pick
V8.
up and
It's
drop
not a
off.
V10.
You went into a trailer.
This
Oh,
is
I'm going on
V8.
one trip.
The one I got at home is a V10. It's a big
Comes
work
back, take a
truck.
trailer here,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big work truck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
that
like,
involves
there's
cooperation.
not a lot of good applications for putting these systems on regular cars.
We can build
just
that in.
trucks.
There's some doing it, and they're building the gasification on the little trailer that hooks the back of the truck with a vacuum hose running to it. But you've got to tow the little trailer around. But they're doing it. I feel like the perfect setup is a small truck sitting here.
What about?
Look at all the pickups around sometimes. Hardly anybody hauls anything. You start looking at the trucks, they're empty beds. But I've got this amount of room that is occupied.
What are those cars that have that bed in the back? Did you do that?
I think all the partners feel that same way, regardless of what people say. But it's like we want to do something else.
What about a boat?
Doing what's right.
Houseboat or something like houseboat is perfect. Anything powered with the internal combustion.
Yeah, I'll definitely be in touch. This
You'd think there's so much heat here, you can utilize the heat to heat the vehicle, but the regular air system still works.
Yeah.
For your heater. So you don't need it.
Absolutely. Yeah, good to see you. Okay.
So,
It seems strange riding down the road in the summertime. there's wood in there burning.
Okay.
You feel up on the dash and all that coolness coming out, all that wood gas coolness.
Right.
Even if
There.
you
Okay.
So Ryan was saying that probably if you were trying to get even more.
If you've got interest in this kind of
might look at
stuff, I mean, I'm looking to hire
heat exchanger
someone
things in
to
between
run
this to get even more,
the thing I do
pins or
is
something?
biodiesel furnaces. I am going to be hiring an employer to the lead technician kind of furnace.
And then it goes to another stuff.
Mostly a lot of money. And a lot of folks don't have work, you know.
That's how I am. My basically the way I've been making money in this career is selling my.
Great, I really love that you were able to come. So by the way, I've already talked